Hello everybody, I'm Face, and welcome back to another Loomian Legacy video. Today we're going to be going over how to build your TP spreads on your Loomians a little bit more in depth than just the classic 200, 200, 100. Because I see a lot of people over various Discord servers struggling to make their TP spreads simply because they just don't know enough about how to do it or about the Loomians themselves. Or they just decide to throw 50 or 150 on a spread and it triggers me hardcore, so I figured I'd just make a video, hope they watch it, and then rage when they still do it anyway. But whatever. Anyway, so, I'm just gonna say, don't use 50 TPs or 150 TPs. The way they work is that for every 4 you put on a Loomian, almost said Pokemon. What's a Pokemon? But for every 4 TPs you put on a Loomian, I keep forgetting my cam's up here, so I can't see my fingers down here. So I gotta. So for every 4 TPs you put on a Loomian, you get 1 stat point at level 100, and it scales down the levels, but it always requires multiples of 4. So that means if you put 50 or 150, they're doing the same thing as what 48 and 148 would give, because they are multiples of 4 and 150 and 50 are not. So you're essentially wasting 2 TPs that way. So just if you want to put 150 or 50, just remember 48 does the same thing. Anyway, now while I say that we should be using more complex TP spreads, that's not always needed. Case in point, Zulong. It wants to be as fast as possible, and it wants to hit as hard as possible. So 200 speed, 200 range attack, 100 HP works just fine on it. This isn't a thing that every Loomian needs, but a lot of cases will happen where you want to optimize your spreads as much as possible, like Valkyrie, but we'll get into that later. But the first thing I want to talk about is TPing your health, so that especially on things that are weak to ice, or weak to ice, like for icicle trap, since it does a set amount of damage, you want to TP your HP so that you have an odd amount of HP. So like this, my Borok here, it has 4 TPs in HP. If I didn't have this, it would have an even number of HPs, and the reason you want an odd, especially if you're weak, is because that set damage rounds down. So like if you're like Florant and you take half your health on the switch because you're double weak to ice, if you make it odd, it'll take your HP, cut in half, but it'll be like something 0.5. It'll just cut that 0.5 off and round down the damage. So you essentially get one more switch into icicle trap. If you had even HP and you swapped into icicle trap twice, you'd just faint right then and there. But with odd HP, you'd live with 1 HP after 2 switches. So this especially applies to things that are weak to ice. But if you're resistant, you can be a little more lenient with it. But always try and get a odd HP basically. So yeah, that's why this would have 4 HP, or Florant, or you see random like spreads asking for 196 HP like Florant, because if it had 200, it would have an even number of HP. So always TP for odd HP. There you go. Then next thing I want to talk about is speed creeping. So you see, I don't have 200 speed TPs because that would be unnecessary. The purpose that has been established for Borok is to scare Seer Knight, because Seer Knight is like the most threatening. It's the best thing in the game at the moment. That thing has 0 switch-ins, so Borok wants to come in and outspeed it so it can threaten a one-hit KO, so Seer Knight has to switch out, or just you kill Seer Knight right then and there. So speed creeping is just essentially TPing so that you're just faster than something. And we all know the popular TP spread for Seer Knight's 168 speed nowadays. So it can outspeed a max speed smart Luminami, so since they 2-hit KO each other, Seer Knight wants to be faster than it under any circumstance. And this 152 is just enough to outspeed it by 1 point. So most Seer Knights aren't going to be running 200 speed because it's fairly pointless. So you'll be outspeeding a majority of Seer Knights this way, and you could save yourself 48 TPs to throw somewhere else. I have 144 range defense on mine just so I can, have a switch in for an extra switch in for Zulong. But most of the time I find myself just going to floor anyway. But that's what this is for. So yeah, examples of speed creeping are like Valkyrie, which I'll get into later, Vesperatu, and like I said, Borok. So speed creeping is an important thing, and you should really look out for it. Like this whole, complex TP builds, all of them are just based on threats in the metagame. You always want to make sure you are prepared for the most threatening things, and that's why you want these spreads so that you are the most prepared for as much as possible. That's why you want to speed creep, why you want to have, defensive benchmarks and all that stuff. And speaking of defensive benchmarks, we're going to go into my Vesperatu here. I don't like this build anymore. I used to run it because, we all thought Smart Luxor was good, but everybody uses Nimble anyway. Smart is better right now, but everybody uses Nimble, so this isn't that great anymore, simply because this is still slower than a Nimble Luxor. So I would just drop this down to 16 speed, so you are outspeeding a max speed Valkyrie. But this 80-84 range defense right here is a defensive benchmark. This makes it so Dusket can't 3-hit KO you with Spectral Burst. I think it's like a 1.5% chance it actually does that, but if that actually happens, one, you get to call hacks and blame it on that for the reason you lost, and two, you didn't use Revival at any point. But anyway, that benchmark is so that you have a better matchup versus Dusket, so you can actually come in against it and minimize your damage. I have 196 HP, but it should actually be 200 because I accidentally looked at level 100 Vesperatu instead of level 50. But yeah, if you're doing level 50, you want 200. So I generally want 200 HP. It ends up coming out to, this ends up allowing you for 200 defense. 80-84 range defense, it actually doesn't matter because 84 doesn't give you an extra point at level 50. And 16 speed. Now, if you want to absolutely get rid of any possible chance of Dusket 3-hit KOing you, not that 1.5, then you could bump it up to 104 range defense and drop your defense down to like 180? Yeah. And yeah, that's how you would do that. But this, like I said, this defensive benchmark, you designate some TPs just so a specific matchup is better, rather than just having 200 HP, 200 defense, 100 range defense, not knowing what anything is for. You always want to know what your TPs are for. And yeah, so that's just Vesperatu in general. And later on, I'll have a calculator up, not mine because mine sucks. Let's all be real here. And I'll have the new one linked in the description. But yeah, I'll show you how the TP spreads actually affect things. And then I'm just gonna throw an image up. I don't actually have it in game, and I don't know anybody who has it in game, so I'll just throw an image of a Valkyrie with this TP spread I'm about to go over from the calculator, just because I just don't have it on me. But you're generally gonna want a Valkyrie. Like this Valkyrie is about as complex as it gets right now when it comes to TP spreads. Or at least for now. We might get more complex as the game goes on and we get more threats we need to look out for. But what we would consider to be the best Valkyrie set would be 60 HP, 200 ranged attack, 64 range defense, and 176 speed. That's like, okay, that's why? So 176 speed right there, it outspeeds a max speed Brawny Umbrat, so you outspeed and OHKO those. You don't want to be outsped by Umbrat. It either forces them to quick bounce you for damage, or you just flat out KO them. And a nimble, if they run nimble Umbrat, then they're either Jamie or dumb, but you know, that's synonymous. But you really don't want to run nimble Umbrat. So that's what the 176 speed's for. The range attack 200, just because you know you want to do as much damage as possible. 64 range defense and 60 HP. The high cat. They're when paired with a heavy shield, this spread lets you live a hit from a Power Cuff Smart Zulong. Okay, this cat's annoying. Shush. I scooted her away. But okay, we're just gonna have to deal with meowing in the video, whatever. But yeah, the 200 for 200 smart Zulong with power cuffs, that Thunder Strike will not KO you in one hit, and you'll OHKO them back. So that's what that spread's for. I'm not, by the way, this video is not to give the best TP spreads for every Loomian. I'm just going over examples of, you know, complex TP spreads and how you would go about building them. So yeah, Valkyrie is basically an application of both speed creeping, you know, 176 speed to outspeed max speed Umbrats, and defensive benchmarks with the 60 HP and 64 range defense with a heavy shield. But so now I'm just gonna switch over to, you know, the calc and show you, rather than just keep talking about it. Like I said here, oh wait, that's nimble. Nimble 77 to 91, 98 to 100. I mean, you're sometimes not going to get this roll, and that's when you get to cry, but I told me this would OHKO, and then you can blame me for your losses and I'll just not care. But anyway, it does that much with nimble, and then smart just does just under your max HP, and like I said, you can KO him back. So like I said, that's what this spread does. Oh yeah, Brad, just to show you, 200, 121 to 122. That's the 176 speed playing into effect. But yeah, so that like I said, that's the Valkyrie thing. Here's Vesperati. Oh well, the calc deleted my other one. That's unfortunate. Well, we're just gonna play with this for a second. Give me a hot second. 84. No, not there. 200 there. And robust. There we go. And then here's the Dusket. For some reason, the calc has this as nimble with awakening and power cuffs, but nowadays Duskets are running heavy shields so that they can, you know, do the whole return to sender meme that everybody loves. So most people aren't holding in essence, which means you dodge this 3-hit KO. Like I said, there's the 1.5% chance, but again, you can just take 20 off of here and put it on here, and boom, now it's a 4-hit KO. If you're really worried about it that much. But like I said, that's what these you look at a threat and you build accordingly so that you can have the most coverage with a single team. That's what the TPs, complex TPs allow you to do. Just have the most coverage with a single team. What are some other examples? I'm trying to remember. Oh, right. I just wanted to show Florant at level. By the way, these are all set to level 50 because that's what most competitive battles are at right now, since we want to include energy. Level 100 energy is nearly irrelevant, but we want to include what energy does. So we set it to level 50 so that it actually matters. But at level 50, like I said, Florant wants to be as tanky as possible, so normally you'd think, oh, 200, but then your HP's even, and then Sat Plant cuts your HP to what, 80, 90, 95? Yeah, 95. It would cut your HP to 95, but if you dropped it down to 196, What's 189 divided by 2 is what, 94.5? Well, there you go. Instead of leaving you at 94.5, it would leave you at 95 because it would only do 94. And then if you were to come in again, it would do another 94 and leave you at 1 HP rather than just killing you outright. That's why you always want odd HP on stuff weak to, you know, icicle trap. So there you go. That. Wait, oh, by the way, just to flex on this thing, just yeah. Duskit does nothing to this thing, but I believe 104 allows this to just 3-hit KO. Yeah, 3-hit KO, nice and easy. But anyway, so yeah, that's what all this is for. It's just yeah, I already made the point earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Just covering as much as you can with a single team. So once the update comes out, either today or tomorrow, depending on what day I release this video, we'll have more Loomians, and we're going to have to update our TP spreads to account for all the new threats. And so TP spreads might get even more complex than the Valkyrie one, who knows. But anyway, I hope this video helps you understand that sometimes just going 200, 200, 100 is not the best way to go. But so you just make sure you look at what's in the game when you build your TP spreads so that you know how to prepare. Yeah. Sorry for all the heavy breathing. For some reason I have a dry throat and dry mouth. Whatever. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful. Leave any questions you have down in the comments. I'll answer as much as I can. Except if your question's like, what TP should I give Himber? What TP should I give Luxor? I probably won't answer those. Just apply what I've been telling you. You know, by looking at certain threats and TPing your stuff accordingly to your own TP spread. See what you can come up with. Give me some fire in the comments. Let me see what you got. Make Ragoon viable. Good luck. But anyway, have a nice day.